Okay, hi, brothers and sisters. Thank you for being here. My name's Richard, if we've never met. Welcome to my channel. Today, the topic that's been resonating with me is impermanence. This concept that everything is changing. Everything, everyone, every moment, every word, every sound, everything is constantly changing. The moment we actually start paying attention, by the time you recognize that you're taking a breath or you're about to breathe in, the breath is gone. Now you're on to the next breath. By the time you acknowledge that what I'm saying to you are words in the form of sound waves that are traveling to your eardrums, by the time your brain does all this calculation to tell you what the word is and to allow you to comprehend what I'm saying, the words are gone. And then the next word comes. Every moment is changing. Everything is changing. On a physical level, our bodies are constantly in a state of flux. We are made up of tiny little atoms and cells, and I don't know how you want to splice and dice it into the very smallest point. Everything is vibrating. Everything is changing. We're all changing. And you know this when you've meditated long enough and you can feel your arms tingling or your feet tingling. What is that? If not the cells of your body vibrating and changing state constantly. So as beings, as conscious beings, we ourselves are changing without our own conscious awareness of said change. Change is impersonal. It is not about you. It's not about what you've thought about it. It is happening whether you like it or not. Everything is changing. Now, this piece of wisdom, when I first stumbled into it, I think I was a lot younger. I was going through some heartbreak. I was going through some heavy emotion. Life was just looking it was just, there was no rhythm or pattern to anything. And I just felt very lost, very consumed by my pain, by the thoughts that were just running wild. I just didn't have any direction. And I would always stumble upon passages or sayings or even advice from people just saying, this too will pass, this too shall pass. And sometimes it made sense because I knew time would pass eventually, but I didn't feel it. I didn't really feel this knowledge that everything passes, and this too, anything you're going through right now, any challenge you're going through, your relationship's not working, work isn't looking good, you're having troubles regulating yourself, maybe you're not your absolute best to someone that you love right now, whatever it is, it will pass. I didn't really understand this concept until I went on my first retreat, a Vipassana meditation retreat in Cape Town, South Africa. I'd quit my job in Toronto. I'd ended my relationships at the time. I just packed my bags and I went, and I was like, I don't know how it's going to play out. I just know I need to be in South Africa. And I went. And my Airbnb host at the time said to me, somehow a lot of people that come here end up going to this Vipassana retreat. I could never do it. And I was like, I wonder what this is. I looked it up. I saw that it was booked and filled for months to come, and there was a waiting list. And I was like, what could go wrong? I was completely surrendered to my life, completely accepting of the guidance of life and where it was taking me. And I said, you know what? Somehow this woman has told me about this thing. I'm going to go apply and see what it's about. And even though there was a long waiting list, somehow they chose me to go into this course. And it was 10 days of absolute silence. You're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to smile at people. You're not allowed to gesture at people. You pretty much meditate for 8 to 12 hours a day. I had my own meditation practice. I was meditating for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes a day, but I had never done 8 hours. But somehow I knew I was meant to be there. And it's the same knowing that I try and remind myself and carry myself through life is you're exactly where you're meant to be. Everything in this moment is serving you. Everything in this moment is here to teach you, to help you evolve. But I knew this back then, so I completely surrendered to the experiment. this retreat. There was vegan food, so you could only eat vegan food. You couldn't, and there was 5 precepts. You can't steal, you can't kill, you can't tell lies. I can't remember the other 2, but you can look it up, the 5 precepts of Vipassana. But those were pretty easy to follow. The hardest one was the not telling lies one, but then you don't speak to anyone. So this one was very easy in the end, was you can't tell lies or embellish or omit anything because you're just not speaking to anyone. But eventually I went through this process. It was very painful. You're sat in this hall meditating for hours on end. You are in a meditative position for a very long time. Naturally, you are going to ache, you're going to be in pain, but somehow, some way, you manage to stay in that position. And what this eventually taught me on an experiential level, so through reading and through my friends and advisors and counselors, this concept of this too shall pass was an intellectual type of knowledge. It was just like, yeah, I know time passes. I know it's going to pass, it's going to change, but I don't know how this affects my feelings right now because these feelings are strong. It was very much intellectual. But when you have no other distractions in your life, no technology, you're in simple clothing, you're sat in a hall with maybe 50 other people who are there for the exact same mission as you are, which is to get to know yourself. There's no cheap dopamine opportunities with social media or whatever people consume these days to spike their dopamine, but you just literally left with yourself. Over time, everything regulates and you find yourself sat in this position and you're in pain, physical, and eventually the physical pain morphs into emotional pain because we're constantly trying to medicate and dull and distract ourselves from our emotional pain by going out and eating and partying or whatever. But when you have nothing to do, you finally unearth this pain that comes out through your physical sensations and you have nothing to do about it. You literally have to sit there. And the beauty of that experience is if you really are aware of it and you don't become so consumed by the pain, what you'll notice is even your most intense emotions translate to a physical sensation in your body. For me, that sensation is a tightness kind of around here. It's like a tightness, like almost like someone's like squeezing that muscle and kind of pulling it inwards. That's how my emotional pain surfaces when I need to process something. It's just this tightness in this area. For some people, it's a kind of a deep dwelling pull in their stomach. For some people, it's in their chest, it's in their arms. Different for everyone. Pain shows up in the way it needs to show up. And we all have pain. I don't know who you are, where in your stage of your life you're in, we all have pain. But when you're sat in this Vipassana hall and you're meditating for the first few days, there's a bit of a ramp up. And then you get into like maybe the 5th day or the 6th day, it's a 10-day retreat, and you're now comfortable sitting in silence by yourself. Something phenomenal starts to happen. Something amazing starts to happen. You start to observe your pain as this external entity that you get to watch. Vipassana meditation, I should probably prefix this, is a sort of a body scan meditation. You're kind of going from the roots to the crown of your head, part by part, until you get to your toes, checking for sensation and seeing what's there. And then you continuously do this over and over and over again until you become very intimate with your physical sensations. And then you really start to realize that, whoa, even though my mind isn't focused on it most of the time, but when I do quiet my mind, my entire being is vibrating, even when you're sleeping. Now, in the retreat, you get to be very aware of this, but then you also get to observe your pain as this external entity. And then when you get back to the part of your body where your pain is surfacing, so for me it's my chest, my left chest area, I go back into that space, and the instructor tells you, is like, when you get there and you feel some sensation, become inquisitive about it. what does this actually feel like? Is it a annoying pain? Is it a throbbing pain? Is it a pattern to it? It's like become inquisitive about your pain. What I eventually noticed was, as I observed the pain itself started to change. It became different. Sometimes more intense than when I first started to observe it, but sometimes less intense. And I wasn't doing anything about this. I wasn't thinking anything to make it that. It was just this ever-changing sensation that was impersonal to me. It just had to do its thing. And I got to a state where I'd been sat for 2 hours. I was in pain, enormous pain. And I thought, this is it. I don't think there can be any more pain than this. And this pain, and I didn't do anything. I was sat in a pose, in a state of aditana. Aditana is complete dedication or strong will that I will not leave or move from this position. Come rain or come sunshine. The Buddha had to maintain that pose to reach enlightenment. But it's something that you practice in this meditation retreat. Is I don't care if my leg is going to fall off. I'm not moving this leg. You get into that level of determination, strong determination, that's aditana. And I was in that state and something incredible happened. The pain went away. This was me sat for 2 hours in pain, and just when I thought I couldn't go anymore, I was like, I don't know, I'm going to give up. Mind you, I didn't even have to sit for those 2 hours. Everyone left an hour ago, but I just knew I had to go find something in this particular sit, because you have multiple sits through the day. And around 2 hours, I think it was around 2 hours. Obviously, I don't have a watch, so I don't really know exactly what time it was, but it was definitely a couple hours in. This pain changed. It changed into to the point where I didn't even know what my leg was anymore. I completely just morphed into this soup of tingling sensations. And that for me was just another reminder that even in the moments where you don't know that you can carry on, even in the moments where things look like they're literally falling apart, your thoughts are running rampant, even in this moment where you feel like you have to do something to alleviate this pain, you can choose stillness. You can choose non-reactivity. You can choose to take the seat behind the turmoil, the chaos of your mind and body experience, and observe, what is this really showing me? What is this really teaching me about myself? What is really happening here? Do I really have to do something? And sometimes you do have to do things. I'm not saying don't do anything when life's going wrong. No, if you're in an abusive situation, you'll know when you have to do something, but you won't be doing it out of avoidance of pain. If you can take a minute to sit back, sit behind the pain, allow it to evolve and change and show you all that it needs to show you, then you'll get the wisdom. Then you'll make that decision from a space of knowing, a space of inner peace. And it will, even if you have doubt, did I make the right decision? In time, your mind will say, no, you didn't rush it. You gave it the time it needed. And this decision came from within you. So with this knowledge, I urge you to free yourself. Free yourself from your emotions. Free yourself from your thoughts. Free yourself from the people in your lives that you need to be something that they're not. Free yourself from the experiences in your life that you need to be something that they're not. Free yourself from the ambitions in your life that you need to be something so you can feel something. Because everything is changing. Even when you achieve all you need to achieve, you get the husband, you get the wife, you get the money in the bank, you get the body, the booty, I don't know what you want. But even when you get it, that moment will change. And then you're on to the next, and then you're on to the next. So free yourself and engage with life to the fullest of your capabilities in this moment, because this is the only moment that you have. It's the only thing that matters. If someone's in front of you, please give them all your love, all your attention, as best as you can. It's not always going to be easy, of course, because we're also emotional, hormonal beings, that things are fluctuating inside of us, and it kind of makes things difficult sometimes. But to the best of your ability, give the moment in front of you its reverence. Give it all of you. So that is it on impermanence. So if this resonates with you, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to send me an email. Feel free to share this with someone who needs to hear it. Feel free to dive deeper within yourself and ask what this means for you. Don't take my word for it. You know what's true for you. There's a part of you that knows the same thing that I know, in a different way, different language. But consult that part of you, because you're already whole. You're already perfect as you are, and all is well with you. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on my next video.